Hi dear students, welcome to the next video. Today we will be seeing blood supply of the lower limb. We have already seen blood supply of abdomen and pelvis. If you have not watched, please watch that. And please subscribe the channel so that you don't miss the videos. So let's begin. So we will be seeing arteries and veins of the lower limb. External iliac artery continuing as femoral artery. External iliac artery is a branch of common iliac artery that continues in the lower limb as the femoral artery. Femoral artery crosses under the inguinal ligament, which is connecting anterior superior iliac spine to pubic tubercle. Then it is present in the anterior aspect of the thigh, where it gives branches. There are superficial branch and deep branch. Superficial branches are seen superficially and deep branches go to the deeper aspect. There are three superficial branches: superficial circumflex femoral artery, superficial inferior epigastric artery, superficial external pudendal artery. Superficial circumflex iliac artery goes to the iliac spine, anterior superior iliac spine. Superficial epigastric artery supplies the lower aspect of the abdomen. Superficial external pudendal artery supplies the genital area. Whereas profunda femoris is the deep artery. It is also called deep artery of the thigh, and it is a deep branch from the femoral artery, and this goes to the deeper aspect and supply certain structures. Femoral artery can be seen in the femoral triangle. Femoral triangle is a triangle which is formed by some muscles having the apex inferiorly and base superiorly. Along with femoral artery, on the medial aspect, femoral vein also can be seen. External iliac artery is a branch of the common iliac. Common iliac is coming from the abdominal aorta. Here the internal iliac is not shown. Internal iliac supplies the pelvis. We have seen the last class. So a branch comes out like this, internal iliac. Then the external iliac continues as the femoral artery below the inguinal ligament, giving branches. Profunda femoris is the deep branch of femoral artery, which is arising from the femoral artery 5 cm below inguinal ligament. There are 6 branches of it. 2 circumflex femoral artery, as the name suggests, they are going to surround the femur. Medial and lateral circumflex femoral artery. Medial circumflex artery, lateral circumflex femoral artery. There are 4 perforating arteries. Perforating arteries are deep. There are 4, 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one. I'm sorry, this one. 1, 2, 3, and the fourth. 4 perforating arteries. These are muscular arteries supplying the muscles. So profunda femoris giving medial circumflex femoral artery and lateral circumflex femoral artery. Circumflex femoral arteries, they form ring around the upper end of the femur. Medial and lateral circumflex femoral artery. Lateral circumflex femoral artery in turn has got 3 branches. Ascending branch that anastomoses with superior gluteal artery. Superior gluteal artery is a branch of internal iliac artery. Descending branch to the knee. Transverse branch. Perforating arteries, they supply muscles of the thigh. They surround the femur posteriorly and they reach on the lateral aspect of the femur. There are 4 perforators, 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one is the continuation of the profunda femoris artery. After the proximal aspect of the thigh, the femoral artery enters adductor canal. Adductor canal is a canal which is seen, which is a muscular canal which is between vastus medialis, adductors and sartorius. Sartorius is cut. It comes in this way. So it is between the sartorius, vastus medialis and the adductors. Adductor canal. So it enters the adductor canal. Now, in the adductor, after passing in the adductor canal, it passes through adductor hiatus. Adductor hiatus is a small gap in the adductor magnus muscle. Adductor magnus muscle is a deep muscle. In the muscle, there is a small opening that faces posteriorly, through which the femoral artery passes onto the posterior aspect of the thigh as popliteal artery. So from the anterior aspect, femoral artery initially passes through the adductor canal, then adductor hiatus, then reaching the posterior aspect of the thigh. Now you cannot see the femoral artery on the anterior aspect because it goes to the posterior aspect, and continuing there as popliteal artery, and it reaches in the popliteal fossa. Popliteal fossa is a space, or is a hollow area that is seen behind the knee joint. So the location of adductor hiatus is at the junction of upper 2/3 and lower 1/3 of femur. So upper 2/3 and lower 1/3 of femur. So somewhere here in this area. That is the location of adductor hiatus. I said adductor hiatus is a opening that you can see in the adductor magnus muscle. Now just before going to the adductor hiatus, it gives a branch called descending branch to genicular anastomosis. Small branch is given, descending branch, and this branch will anastomose with some of the branches of other arteries, which forms together genicular anastomosis. Genicular means joint, so it is anastomosis that is formed in the knee joint. Anastomosis is the meeting of vessels. Now this is a posterior view where the femoral artery passes through the adductor hiatus and reaches the posterior aspect of the thigh, reaching the popliteal fossa. Popliteal fossa is a diamond shaped fossa behind the knee, and this artery is called as popliteal artery. Now the popliteal artery gives branches to genicular anastomosis and knee joint. So this also gives a lot of branches to the genicular anastomosis, and it divides at the lower border of knee joint into posterior tibial artery, posterior tibial artery, posterior tibial artery, and anterior tibial artery. So division occurs here at this point, anterior tibial artery, and the continuation of it is posterior tibial artery. Now posterior tibial artery later gives another branch that is called peroneal artery or fibular artery. Another view of anterior aspect where the femoral artery, anterior view, patella, femur, tibia, fibula, femoral artery going backwards, continuing as popliteal artery that you cannot see because it is posterior, whereas here this is a posterior view, this is an anterior view, giving a branch descending genicular artery before passing into the adductor hiatus. That anastomosis with some branches here, and all together they form genicular anastomosis. Anterior tibial artery, which is given by the popliteal artery, passes a gap between the interosseous membrane. Interosseous membrane is connecting tibia and fibula, the bones of leg. So just above that it enters and it reaches anterior aspect. So anterior tibial artery can be seen between tibia and fibula in this area. So anterior tibial artery moves onto the anterior aspect, whereas posterior tibial artery continuing in the posterior compartment. Anterior tibial artery reaches anterior aspect of the leg. Now posterior tibial artery. So popliteal artery dividing into anterior tibial artery and posterior tibial artery. Posterior tibial artery is larger of the two tibial artery, so it is quite larger than the anterior. 2.5 cm from its origin, it gives another branch called fibular artery. Then it descends and becomes more medially. It's seen more medially, it is placing towards onto the medial aspect. At the angle, it gives a branch that is medial malleolar branches that reaches the medial malleolus and supplies that area. Then passes posterior to medial malleolus. Then it is behind the medial malleolus where you can feel the pulsations of it. Then it divides into medial and lateral plantar arteries. They supply the soul. Medial and lateral plantar artery, they will anastomose with each other later. Fibular artery is arising from posterior tibial artery. This artery will supply the lateral aspect of the leg. Peroneal artery descends to lie posteromedial aspect of the fibula. Now it runs behind inferior tibiofibular joint. Inferior tibiofibular joint is a joint between the tibia and the fibula. So it passes just inferior to that, and it ends as a calcaneal branch which supplies the calcaneum, the lateral aspect of the calcaneum and the foot region. Anterior tibial artery, so anterior view can be seen. Anterior tibial artery passes between tibia and fibula. It reaches anteriorly, passes above the upper margin of interosseous membrane connecting tibia and fibula, and it continues downwards, lying anterior to the interosseous membrane, becomes superficial at angle between two malleolus, between lateral and medial malleolus. It becomes superficial, and it continues as dorsalis pedis artery. Dorsalis is present on the dorsal aspect, pedis means foot. Now then it passes between first and second metatarsals. It passes deep in between the metatarsals, then to join the plantar arch. Plantar arch is seen on the sole of the foot, which is formed by medial and lateral plantar arteries. Medial and lateral plantar arteries are branches of posterior tibial artery. We just saw it now. Medial and lateral plantar arteries, they are branches of posterior tibial artery. So they form arches here, and the dorsalis pedis now, which is seen on the dorsal aspect, will pierce between the two metatarsals and reach the sole anastomosis with the plantar arch formed by medial and lateral plantar arteries. Dorsalis pedis artery can be seen, anterior tibial artery continuing as dorsalis pedis artery, and it dips down. Now let's see the veins of lower limb. There are superficial system and a deep system. Superficial system of veins, they are seen in the superficial fascia, and there are two veins, long and short saphenous vein. The meaning of saphenous is easily seen. So these veins are easily seen. Whereas deep system, it is placed deep, and they usually accompany the arteries. Normal direction of blood flow is from superficial to the deeper aspect, and also from distal to proximal. And there are valves in the veins. Now let's see all these things. So there are superficial vein and deep vein. Always blood will flow from superficial to deep veins, and always blood will flow from inferior to superior aspect. Another diagram where superficial vein and deep vein are seen, and they are connected by perforating veins. Now the valve's position can be seen. The blood will be flowing only from superficial veins to deep veins. So superficial to deep veins, and the valve is directed in such a way that the blood can only flow in this way. If the blood tries to move from deep to superficial, the valve is getting closed. Now similarly, the blood will only flow from inferior to superior aspect. The valves are oriented in that way. If blood is trying to flow from superior to inferior, the valves are usually closed. Now superficial system, the great saphenous vein. It's formed by union of medial end of dorsal venous arch. Dorsal venous arch is a venous arch seen on the dorsal aspect of the foot. On the medial aspect, it is continuing as great saphenous vein. And there is a small vein that is arising from the medial side of the great toe. So the dorsal venous arch joins with a small vein that is arising from medial side of the great toe, and they together form the great saphenous vein. Passes anterior to medial malleolus. Medial malleolus is here, just anterior to that. Ascends onto the posterior side of medial knee, anterior side of medial upper thigh, and drains into femoral vein. Femoral vein is a deep vein, so this is draining into the femoral vein. Always superficial veins will drain ultimately to the deep veins. Short saphenous vein, as the name suggests, it is short. It begins from the lateral end of dorsal venous arch at the lateral side of dorsum of the foot. So this is the dorsal venous arch. It has got a medial end from where the great saphenous vein arises. From the lateral aspect, the short saphenous vein arises. Passes posterior to medial malleolus. Posterior to lateral malleolus. Since it is on the lateral side, it passes posterior to lateral malleolus. Lateral malleolus is a bony prominence that you can see on the angle, which is formed by the fibula. Passes posterior to lateral malleolus, ascends on the back of the calf, and drains into popliteal vein. Popliteal vein is again a deep vein, which is seen in the popliteal fossa. Popliteal vein, and a small saphenous vein draining into it. And this is sapheno-popliteal junction. Deep system, they accompany the arteries. Usually they are paired, but maybe more than two veins that accompany each artery. So these are the arteries, and these are the veins, but they are actually following arteries. We have seen femoral artery, so we have femoral vein. Right? We have seen popliteal artery, so we have popliteal vein. We have anterior tibial artery, posterior tibial artery. We have anterior tibial vein and posterior tibial vein. And here, usually, one artery is followed by two veins. For example, there is one anterior tibial artery which is having two veins on either side of the artery. So they are called as venae committens. Venae committens. Okay, they are usually paired. That's why anterior tibial artery will have two veins. Posterior tibial artery will have two posterior tibial veins. Okay, ultimately they form a single vein, as you can see here. Now perforating veins or communicating veins, they connect superficial to the deep veins. We have already seen it. They are variable in size, and variable in height and number. Usually there are two or more in medial aspect of the lower leg above the ankle. Also found on the medial aspect of lower thigh. They just connect superficial veins to the deep veins. Varicose veins is a clinical condition associated with the veins of the lower limb. Varicose veins, they are larger diameter than normal, elongated and tortuous. Commonly occurs in the superficial veins of the lower limb, and it is responsible for considerable discomfort and pain, and it leads to even the gangrenes, varicose veins. Ultimately that forms gangrenes, Every time the patient exercises, high pressure venous blood escapes from the deep veins into the superficial veins and produces varicosity and get worse by time. I'll explain with this diagram. You can understand better. Here I said the valves are usually directed in such a way that the opposite direction of the blood, the flow of opposite direction, the flow in the opposite direction of the blood is prevented. For example, here the valves are placed in this way that blood always flow from inferior to superior. Valves does not allow the opposite direction of the blood. That means the blood cannot travel from superior to inferior because this will be closed. Similarly, here the valves are located in this way where it does not allow the blood from the deep vein to pass into superficial veins. Always there is a single unidirectional flow of blood. But if there is a incompetency to the valve here, any issue with the valve, what will happen is that there are chances that the blood from the deep vein can pass into the superficial vein, because deep veins are usually placed within the muscles. So when the muscles are contracted, there will be pressure which is applied to the veins. So this pressure usually leads the blood to flow in the superior direction. Okay, it cannot pass inferiorly because you have valves. But if these valves are incompetent, the blood will flow inferiorly and also from deeper to superficial veins. Then the superficial veins will get enlarged, and that leads to the varicose veins.